Will you join me in prayer? Gracious God, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of each heart here be pleasing to you, our rock and our salvation. Amen. I sometimes do my best thinking while spinning. You know, sitting on the stationary bike at the gym, pedaling away. The morning I had one of the very early morning news shows on recently while I was pedaling, and right before my very eyes came these two startling results from a recent Gallup poll. The first one, 78% of the Americans polled no longer consider themselves religious. And the second one, 75% of the Americans polled believed that the United States would be better if more people were religious. Now, this reinforces the results of the Pew Research study of the religious attitudes of Americans, which was done last year. In that study, the largest identifiable religious group in the United States was none. With the increasingly rapid diversification of the American culture underway, it will not be surprising if the next U.S. Census shows that Hispanics are the largest group in the U.S. population. So, for Manhattan Beach Community Church, sitting between the Port of Los Angeles on the one side and Los Angeles International Airport on the other, two of the busiest entry points to this country from the rest of the world, this information from these two respective sources is timely and significant. And while they should not and cannot bear the brunt alone, it is even more timely and significant for these young scholars preparing to make their way into the world. Many of them will be among America's future leadership in this very small, crowded, diversified, competitive world. We ignore this information and its ramifications at our own peril. The question then becomes, how do we as progressive Christians meet the world? If we are not out looking for those to convert, to put another notch in our belt, what is our reason for reaching out to these new and unfamiliar hands, other than our own self-interest of survival? What is the good news here for them and for us? A big part of the good news here is our own faith and how we view our faith. Faith does not mean that we see ahead clearly or see the future clearly. Faith is not future-telling or fortune-telling. Faith is a relationship with God. Because of that relationship, we have trust. We have trust in the future. Jesus is amazed. And if you take notice in the gospel, it takes a whole lot to amaze Jesus. Jesus is amazed at the faith of the centurion. This was great faith found in an unlikely person, in a totally unexpected vessel. The centurion's response was to be humble and to not feel worthy to have Jesus under his roof. This centurion was in the flow of the stream of life. His faith was basic, trusting, and being open to the current flowing and moving him. A few years back, there was a major manufacturer of incandescent light bulbs which advertised the new product. A soft white bulb. It was supposed to take the bright, harsh glare out of the bulb's rays as they fell upon the bulb's surroundings. These bulbs were all the rage for quite some time. People liked their surroundings being softly and yet clearly lit. Now, as I think of Manhattan Beach Community Church on this Sunday, I want to compliment you about the journey you have taken the past 2+ years from the starting point of being the Church of the Quiet Faith. If the findings of the Pew Research Group and the Gallup poll are reliable signs of the direction of our larger culture, we can no longer afford to be quiet about our faith. We need to be in the flow, going with the current, and plugged in to the Spirit. This should form us to be enthusiastic, clear, articulate proponents of our faith. Please notice, I did not say loud, obnoxious, boisterous, pushy, rude, or arrogant. I said enthusiastic, clear, and articulate. We should be seen in the wider world. We should be heard. Our presence should be felt and known. That's what our wider culture says it wants from us. They tell us that over and over again. You need to tell us about Jesus. Tell us about your faith. That's what our faith requires of us. But we can do this like a good, soft white. Graciously, softly, charitably presenting our faith. Now, as we approach the welcome table this morning, in a moment or two, let us make that our prayer. It is a great day to be alive. Thanks be to God. Amen.